The world knew Jambari the Simba Mwangi as a fortress of a man, a billionaire carved from Nairobi granite and ambition. His empire spanned from the gleaming tech campuses in Karen to vast tea plantations in Kericho. He moved with a predator's quiet intensity, his eyes holding the stormy haze of a man perpetually on the wrong side of midnight. The press called him the silent Simba. He was the ultimate prize of a generation of sophisticated women, accomplished lawyers, poised politicians, and glittering socialites. They arrived with calculated smiles and business proposals disguised as flirtation, but Jabari's gate was kept by his wise, weary mother, Mama Wamboi. The truth hidden behind the fortified walls of the Ruta mansion was that Jabari was drowning. A terrible 3-year insomnia had its claws in him. It was more than sleeplessness. It was a spiritual dislocation. The whispers of the ancestors that should have come in dreams were silent, leaving only a high pitched hum of exhaustion. He was a king of a vast silent kingdom, starving for a peace he could not hold in an app. Mama Wamboi, a woman who still consulted her rusting leaves and the fright patterns of birds, finally issued a decree. You do not need a therapist from Westlands, my son. You need to remember who you are. Go home. Go to your grandfather's shamba in the foothills of Mount Kenya. Grudgingly, he went. The drive from the canopy of Thika Road to the rush, green quiet of Muranga was a journey back in time. The air thick with the scent of red soil, ripening mangoes and wood smoke. It was there at the edge of the ancestral land where the coffee bushes met the untamed forest that the silence broke. It broke the sound of a laugh as clear and as life-giving as the Sagana River. And then a song in Kikuyu, a melody that seemed to make the sunlight drape and the dance at her feet. Jabari followed the sound and found her. She was called Wanjiku, though most called her Shiku. And she was not just a woman, she was a daughter of the land. Her skin was deep, rich brown of fertile earth, and her hair was braided into a complex crown woven with strands of bronze and tiny dried mugumo leaves. She wore a simple kitenge wrap, its yellow and greens blazing like sunburn. Her bare feet were rooted to the ground. She was tending a grove of Mwarubaini trees, her hands moving over the bark as if reading a story there. Their first meeting was at a tonic crash of words. You are disturbing the peace, Jabari stated, his voice a low Nairobi ramble. He stood, a giant in a servile raw suit, amidst the clucking chickens and the buzzing bees. Shiko looked up, her eyes the color of bark, wild honey, and they held a light that saw straight through his glass and steel facade. She didn't flinch. She grinned, a sunrise of expression. And you are a man who has brought his noise with him. The wind has its song, the trees have whispers. Your own spirit is screaming to be heard. The only true peace is a heart in balance. She gestured with a gold dipper. Sit, this is Getete, with a retro something for your soul. It will help you listen. I don't need fermented milk, I need silence, he insisted, even as his body betraying him sat on the gnarled root she indicated. You need to dream, she corrected, her tone as practical as a farmer assessing the rain. The drama of your ancestor is praying, but your feet are too tired to dance. She handed him the gourd. The Getete was cool, sharp, and laced with a herb that tasted of the forest itself. Drink, it is a key. Something fundamental shifted as the potent groove settled in him. The static in his mind softened into a hum, then into a rhythm. For the first time in a thousand nights, Jabari felt a flicker of something other than exhaustion, a deep, resonant calm. Thus began the great homecoming of Jabari Mwangi. He found himself inventing reasons to escape the boardroom. He would arrive at the shamba, and Shiko would be there, a challenge in her eyes and magic in her hands. She showed him how the chameleon carried messages from the sun to the shadows. She explained that the giant Mugumo tree was a pillar holding up the sky. Where he saw spreadsheets, she saw patterns in the butterfly migration. Where he built firewalls, she wove fences of Mudiga reefs to keep bad spirits away. Their conversations were a dance between silicon and soul. You can't list a company on the Nairobi Stock Exchange based on advice of a butterfly. He argued one afternoon, watching her leave a handful of honeyed ugali for the goma, a mythical dwarf-like spirit. Why not? She asked, not looking up from her task. You trust algorithms written by boys in hoodies. I trust the algorithm written on the wings of a butterfly by God Himself. Mine are more proven. He laughed. It was a rusty, seismic sound, like a rock dislodging after a long drought. It startled a Columbus monkey in the canopy above, which chattered back in indignation. He was falling in love, not with a woman, but with a living, breathing piece of Kenya's soul. And with it, the dreams began. Not voids, but vivid, powerful visions. He dreamt of a great, black maned lion with eyes like a molten gold, and a river that sang his name in a forgotten tongue. He started to sleep lured by the memory of her voice and the scent of muarubaini and the wild mint on her skin. But the path to a Simba's heart is never without thorns. The misunderstanding arrived in the form of Zawadi, a stunning corporate lawyer from his past. Hearing rumors of Jabari's rural retreats, she descended upon the shamba in a crowd of Chanel number 5 and a sleek land cruiser, a spaceship that had landed in the pastoral world. Jabari, mpenzi wangu, she called, her voice sleek and polished, striding towards him and linking her arm with his possessively. All this hiding in the village. It's charming, really. But you belong to the city with people who speak your language. Jabari, socially inept and blind-sided, froze. He was running a cost-benefit analysis on confrontation versus appeasement. Shiko emerged from the shade of Mugumo tree, a basket of medical sage on her hip. She saw a beautiful urban woman, the intimate, the claiming touch, and Jabari's silent, stiff posture. The light in her honeyed gold eyes dimmed, replaced by a deep ancestral sorrow. I see, she said, her voice a soft falling jacaranda petals. The concrete forest has come for its lion. She looked not at Zawadi but at Jabari. The key is broken, do not return. She turned and walked into the thicket, and as she did, the shadows seemed to deepen and swallow her whole. For 3 days, Jabari was a ghost in his own mansion. The dreams returned, but now they were nightmares of a sun-scorched savannah and a lion with a thorn in its paw. The insomnia returned with a vengeful fury. Mama Wamboi found him pacing, a wild trapped look in his eyes. She is not just a girl Jambari, his mother whispered, the hand on his arm. She is a Mogowarorere, a keeper of the tribe spirit. You have turned your back on the soil that feeds you. You must go to her, not as a billionaire, but as a son of this land. So Jabari Mwangi, the saber of industry, shed his armor. He returned to the shamba wearing a simple kikoi. He went to the edge of the forest where she had vanished and did what his pride had forbidden for years. He knelt in the red earth. He began to speak not in the language of the shareholders, but in the tongue of his grandfathers. The one Shiko had reminded him was the language of truth. I have been a fool, he called into the whispering canopy. I who built the towers of grass have been sleeping on the bed of stones. I thought I was seeking sleep, but I was seeking you. You are the soil where my weary spirit can finally take root. You are the rain that washes the dust from my eyes. Without you, the lion in my dreams will perish. Without you, I am just a man with a hollow roar. He poured out his heart until his voice was raw. The forest was still. Then a shift. The air grew heavy and sweet with the scent of blooming maua. The shadows of the forest edge parted, and Shiko stood there. She was different. Her form seemed to pulse with a low golden energy, and for a fleeting moment he saw the ghost of the great black maned lion standing protectively at her shoulder. You have finally learned to speak from here, she said, pressing a hand on her chest. A king is not the one with the largest heart, but the one who knows the song to lead them home. I love you, Shiko, he said. The words above that settled in the earth. My soul has known you since the first star was named. Chico walked forward and placed her hand, cool and strong, against his chest, over his heart. A jolt of pure, vibrant life shot through him. And I, you, Jabari. Now, get up from the dirt. A Simba should kneel only to the mountain that forged him and to the woman who held his roar. As he stood, she leaned in and kissed him. It was not just a kiss, but a homecoming, a sealing. The wind sighed through the mugumo leaves in a standing ovation, and deep in the forest, a lion roared echoed through the foothills, a sound of triumph and territory reclaimed. The story that lingered was not just of a billionaire who found love, but of a modern king who found his way back to the ancient rhythm of land.